Welcome to Puff, Palms Up Flash Fest from Palms Up Academy. I am your host, Arianna Basco. Today, we will be exploring poetry from Alex Luu, Ramacho, and myself with Evangeline Monroy. We will also be hearing music from our chords instructor at Palms Up Academy, Fuzzzy. We will also be watching a pilot made by myself and my good friend Nicole Turley. I invite you to submit your work at Palms Up Academy or at our website, palmsupacademy.com. Please join us after the show as we have a discussion with all of the artists. Enjoy the show.
The SoCal High School of the Arts will be hosting a fundraiser, an alumni show featuring performances by all his former classmates and friends titled Bring It All Back. Your name and talent.
Avery Taylor, acting department. I'm doing something to change my fate.
You want to be a damn rock star?
You know, I fired the band. Right. Man, I had to let them niggas go.
Sharon Contessa Chewinski here. I'm from Knoxville, Tennessee. You know I'm the new face of Dollar Down out here, right? Holler, it's $1.
Hi, I'm Anika Reyes, and I'm a vocalist.
I heard you had a kid that's awesome.
But he wants a pop princess that's a mom.
I'm in Renault and I'm in the musical. I'm in the, still make music. A lot, actually.
Joni Wallace and classical dance. The day you gave up dance, Joan, is the day you died.
It's never enough. It's never fucking good enough for you.
Robert?
What happened to your stutter?
He's a celebrity now.
You got this backup gig too, huh?
Well, it's my songs, so.
Michael Shaw. I paint pictures.
I'm here on business.
You're a very serious businessman now.
I wanted to be a good little brother, you know, but call him out for a change.
I'm Rachel Capteen. I really do just love acting. It's an unpredictable business that you take time to hone your craft.
Oh, it's getting hot in here, so take off all your clothes.
I was just about to say that. Now it's all over.
Kids, get the hell out of the yard.
Panties being thrown all up in your face.
I got this covered, you know. I'm every woman.
Don't do that. Do what? The self-defeated, self-deprecating shit. It's trite and unbecoming. Thank you for giving us the reputation of being manipulative, narcissistic, self-serving.
Shit, anything else?
Yes! Are you doing the alumni show?
What the fuck?
Are you?
I don't know. Maybe.
Let me down easy.
We're just trying to hold it together.
Though your love for me is gone.
Everybody already knows. Things everybody already knows.
I got that on video and you have to use that now.
Yeah, great.
Because you're just walking and talking.
Things that everybody already knows. There are so many ways of falling in love. Maybe. Like the catch yourself staring kinds of love. That makes you stutter kinds of love. The first dates at Subway, cups of coffee on Sunday mornings, the no, you hang up first, no, you, no, you. The you are definitely in my T-Mobile top 5 kinds of love. The share my meal, carry the load, learn that I choose you is not a given. That makes you tremble in your bones, the rest of my life in your eyes, the falling into place, hearts tethered, hey, maybe we'll give this future a go kind of love. The ones poets paint about, the ones movies are not written for. The ones that melt patties, toasted sourdough, because I know that it is your favorite. The always see you because your memory is seared behind my eyelids. The I don't have any idea how to end this poem kind of love. The sound of your voice, it stops me in my tracks. 100 miles feels like right next to you. Kinds of love, when definitely it is not. At all. The hope that I'll find you at the end of this poem, see you at the tip of this pen, exist every time I breathe life into this piece. The prayer, masked as a poem. The ones where I found out there's so many ways of falling in love. Things everybody already knows.
The number 4, or 4, is considered the unluckiest number in Chinese because it sounds similar to the way we say death. But when you first said, "I love you," even death became a concept I no longer believed in. And love is a concept my mother does not believe in unless money is involved. But we never search each other's pockets for safety. Yet I swear I could feel the future when I first held your hands, walking down Main Street, 4 of your fingers wrapped with 4 of mine, our palms sealed in prayer, locked in 8 places. The number 8 in Chinese is pronounced spa. It's considered the luckiest number because it sounds similar to the way we say good fortune. So, in a way, adding 2 negatives do create prosperity, and I am sorry. I'm sorry for the times I've gripped too hard. Fear of the good luck we might spill if we ever let go. And see, I was never superstitious until I discovered the map to finding myself was really a circle. And doesn't the symbol for infinity look like wedding rings, holding hands, walking down Main Street, or the number 8, laying down? Tired of being defined by value. And baby, aren't we tired of being defined by value? Perhaps infinity is just good fortune that became something that lasts forever, and being with you is timeless. Maybe God created love as a first metaphor for eternity. Our bodies, double entendre for the everlasting. See, as a kid, I used to imagine that the heartbeat was caused by an angel trying to pound its way out the organ, and that our dying breath would unlock the cage for it to reach heaven. And maybe that's why our first kiss, or crap like exercise, were the closest the angels and me could taste freedom. Maybe that's why our first argument, or the darkest moments of my depression, were the closest the demons in me could taste freedom. I'm wondering whose heart you broke out of to find me. Sometimes I question if I was worth the escape. Do you remember the night we both raised our voices like alarm clocks? We screamed so loud, I swear I heard the hourglass break. I saw the expiration date fall from your eyes, and I promised that would be the last time I ever let my ego trip us out of love. So I wrote my apology in a thank you note and called that my first love poem. And you would smile like a second chance, like a reminder of how good fortune must be earned, baby. Do you remember the night we both fell asleep on the video call? I left the computer screen on so bright, it felt like heaven. Your breath sounded like the ambiance of angels humming my welcome home. I thought I died in my slumber. When I woke to find you still sleeping with a smile on your face, I swear to God, you are as beautiful as the last thing I will ever see.
Can't tell you the way that I'm feeling.
blood I gave to you, sweat and tears I gave to you, I gave to you. Might be falling so fast. I'm explaining why this all happening. No explaining, no explaining. It's hard to tell you, baby. It's gone in an instant, it's gone in an instant. How fast I drive so fast. It's gone in an instant, it's gone in an instant. How do I explain the pain? Baby, come to me, I'm on the edge. Baby, come to me, I'm falling so fast. Oh. Even hold me and give me your walls. Even hold me and give me your walls. I want you, oh, only you. Been all around the world, been all around, but these streets make me want me to miss you. I want you here with me. I want you here with me. It's gone in an instant, it's gone in an instant. How fast I drive so fast. It's gone in an instant, it's gone in an instant. How do I explain the pain? Baby, come to me, yeah. I'm on the edge. Baby, come to me. I'm falling so fast. Even hold me and give me your walk. Even hold me and give me your walk. I want you, I only you.
Hey y'all, check out the second installment of my sister Lady Basco series. This one is close to my heart because it's about our grandmother, our lineage, and how we see ourselves. This is what she left.
We are not a rich people, yet. I mean, like the Kennedys, the Vanderbilts, the Rockefellers. There is no trust fund. There is no large inheritance. But I did go take a shower in the bathroom in my parents' room in our old family house, and it felt noble. It felt dignified. It felt fancy. Even with the dust bunnies in the corner, the sensitive shower temperature that changes without being summoned. And when I stepped out, I took a look at my body on the wall-sized closet door mirrors. The way my body curves, the stretch marks, the way it tones up, the way it tones down, the color of my pigment in the light, the redness in my eyes after a good cleaning, where the weight of me gathers, the shape of my feet, the structure of my hands, the broad of my shoulders, the filling under the skin. And it's funny because I see these forms in my cousins and my aunts and my uncles and my nieces and nephews and my brothers and my daughter and my son, in our speech, in our laughter, and the way our emotion comes up, and the way we're angered, the way that we mourn when we tell stories about Grandma, the way we sing, and the way we play. This reflection in this mirror, in this room, in this house, I look in the mirror and I see my tribe. This weight that hugs these bones for the first time in a long time. I look at my body and I feel beautiful. I feel rich. We inherit each other. Grandma left for us the most sought out treasure of them all, family. A real, true family.
Oh my, and welcome to Puff. I am Lady Basco, your host, and I am joined by, in my boxes, I see Andreas Paul Ramacho, Evangeline Monroy, Alex Luu, Fuzzzy, and Marcus Burke. Thank you guys for joining us today, and our viewers and the people that will be watching after it is live. I want to say, to begin, I love this. I love the order of it. Of the actual screening, because the work in progress trailer is definitely about a group of artists that went to performing arts high school and dreams of who they thought they were going to be, them trying to be who they wanted to be, and then who they became in like their 30s. And it's kind of and I know it was just a trailer to kind of just capture all of that in a trailer. And we didn't screen the pilot, but then we go into Andreas's love poem, which is us as individuals, if we were all at this performing arts high school, right? And those beginning sparks of love, of something new, and then we float over to Alex Luu, and he dives even deeper into that, and is playing with love, but also just in the visuals, and those powerful visuals, which is also representation of, and in the content of, I don't know, diversity in love, and how love has many colors and many people in that, and how that forms with our culture and with our loved ones. And then there's Fuzzzy, and it's like this sexy piece, but it also feels like it's gone in an instant, like after, it's like post, it's just like the real kind of journey through that, and finding ourselves in that companionship. And then it ends with a story of worth, what she left, where when we're reflecting on our life, it really comes back to our roots and who we are. So it's kind of this perfect little little curation of a story. So so I don't know, because I don't want us to completely talk over each other. I'll just kind of try and ask individual things, but please do feel free to comment to each other, or speak up, and I'll try to like navigate the space as best as possible for sound. But let's start with Andreas, because that was the first one after work in progress. Man, so Andreas by trade is actually an actor. And that is not to be said that he's not a poet. But I wanted to talk about, well, along with your piece, but what is that like poet? Because we're all multi hyphenates in this Zoom here, or in this Twitch. What is that like, poetry versus acting? Because acting is about authenticity too, but poetry is a different kind of authenticity. So how is that process for you?
It is. I'm actually in the process of doing another one right now, and it's through. It's interesting because it's through Clubhouse, so it's with artists I've never met, but it's an artist from Malaysia and an artist from New York. We've just kind of been inspired to play, and I've had people workshopping it from Australia to India to Singapore. It's kind of been, um, but like popping into poetry, I was just frustrated with how white it was in the industry, and I needed to practice doing monologues. I needed to write my own material. And when Our Mic was created, I started to do that for myself, and really take, like, can I take poetry and treat it as honesty, as a monologue performance piece, and then it just kind of, it started to turn into actual storytelling and my love and respect for the craft of doing that. And that was like 2 years of diving really deep into it. And then people started identifying me as one and having a voice for a very specific group of people. And I was very happy to do that. The process is very similar to the acting side because it's about the honesty that's occurring and then about being able to tell your experience. And that's either acting or that's poetry. It just happens to be your own words. But I love it because there's a heartbeat on the page for both texts. There's always a heartbeat, whether it is my own words or someone else's, and it's just my job to bring it to life for the best of it.
I love that. Yeah. I love that. I love that. All right. And then Alex Luu, continuing this poetry journey that we have for this curation of Puff. It's I've always been a fan of your writing and your ability to draw from. It's apparently a love poem, but it's actually so much more than a love poem, obviously. But how you chose to portray this, and this is for Marcus Burke as well, and how and in the direction of it and in the animation of it, like how is that process coming up with to be able to see poetry come to life in animation in that way? It was almost like it's a perfect pairing. How was that process? How much of that was like your input, or were you like, yo, I did the work, you do your part? How did that?
Yeah, to answer that, that it was more so the second. I didn't even know that I wanted to do an animation for it. I just knew that I had the poem and I performed it at recess before, once or twice a while ago. And so I just know that it's one of my favorite love poems I've ever written. Sadly, our time physically together has ended, and we're on our own journeys, correct, right? But I still wanted to give a proper send-off to that poem, to that piece. It's been 2 years since we broke up. I don't want to wait another year to drop something. And Valentine's Day was coming up, this January and then February. So I'm like, I was like, I need someone to get on this and help me do something. And so first guy I thought of was my best friend from college, Marcus Burke, who's done work before, animating for like rappers, musicians, artists. So I just recorded vocals, sent it over to my producer, fictitious professor. Then I just sent it over to him. And I was like, go for it, bro. Whatever you want, whatever spin, you go for it. You have complete artistic direction with it. I'm putting my soul and my a slice of my life in your hands, and I trust you with what you do.
Okay, hold up.
I'll pass it over to Marcus. All right.
Wait, hold up. Before let me bring Marcus in like this. Did you just say the time was coming? I wanted to do this piece. I know we broke up 2 years ago. It was January and then it was February, and I knew Valentine's Day was coming up. So then I was like, yo, let me hit up my best friend from college, Marcus. That didn't give you a lot of turnaround time, Marcus Burke. What? Excuse me. This looks like it was worked on for months.
It did not.
Okay, tell me about it. How is that? How is it? Oh, it's February. You know what? I want to drop. Here comes Alex Luu. I want to drop a piece. Go ahead. Let me know, Morgan.
Yeah.
What was that about?
Man, Alex and I, like I said, like he said, we knew each other in college, and when we're working on projects and stuff like that, it's always deadlines, last minute stuff. You need to figure out how to make gems with a little bit. And he hit me up maybe a month out, a few weeks out, and not just the technical limitations of the production of like, oh, the time, the bandwidth, but you just heard his backstory. You just saw what it was. You take the visuals aside, you hear the piece. That's his heartbeat on the audio. That's beautiful what he does time and time again, because that's real experience that he's verbing onto poetry. And so for someone to be like, hey, take my journal, manifest it. Hey, write my diary for me. It's like, All right. So you just have to, what I like to do, because this is not the first time someone has done this, is like, I mean, I'm blessed to call Alex a friend. So I lived with him during that time. So I had a little bit more, I knew his language, I knew his voice, internally and out a little bit better than just like a stranger or someone, coming out to me for this request. But still, I need to be able to connect. And so I just listened to it time and time again. And I just had a pencil and paper and I just sketched each beat, each line. I just drew what came to mind. And once I had like a storyboard of each moment and what visually represented with each line, then that was, 80% of the work. What is this line? What does this feeling look like? And then the rest was just crunching to get in the deadline before Valentine's Day.
I love that. How I actually choose to write generally. What I tell writers when they're like, "Oh, I got a writing block," is actually don't think, see. Exactly what you did, but you actually drew it out. But that's how I like to approach writing. It's like don't don't think about it. Like what if you want to say and I was angry. Don't say I was angry. What did that anger look like? And then that's obviously what you do in animation. Be beautiful. Fuzzy, taking us to the third act of this relationship that we explored via Andreas and Alex. And then Fuzzy takes us to the third act with a song and a whistle. Oh man. Uh well, you know, if you don't know the amazingness out there of Fuzzy, you should be looking him up because he's an incredible artist and so incredible that I have hired him to be the professor of music at Palms Up Academy, and he teaches he teaches now for us. Fuzz, as an artist, and now passing it on. Well, he also teaches my nieces and nephews and my daughter as well. So he was teaching children, the Bosco children music, and then now he's moved on to teach adults and his peers music here at Palms Up Academy. What is that like taking your artistry? Like what part, how do you compartmentalize or do you your brain to when you're in artist mode and then when you're in teaching mode, when you're teaching a creative craft? Oh, did he freeze on me? Fuzzy. Hello? Okay. Fuzz?
I apologize. Yes.
Oh no.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so. The last part was what is the difference between teaching adults and young people, right?
No, it was the difference between
Sorry.
using your creative brain to compose and make this music that you do, but then being able to pass that on. But not the music that you do to students, but whatever their music is. Like how does that process work for you in your brain and your heart?
Oh, okay. First of all, I would like to apologize for the technical difficulties, for the viewers and everybody on the group. But so I always say it's kind of funny because I always believe my writing and also teaching should be like it should be dumbed down to like at least a 4-year-old could understand. And uh, the more I understood that when I go to college and speak to these professors, it says that's just maybe you're just better at teaching and understanding of how to describe it, other than other people that is just good at creating it. Not all athletes are great coaches, or one term that my dad used to say to me as well. But I'm flattered that, and I'm very honored that my teacher says that to me, because it's something that I want to work on as a person too. Because in my writing, I always say it could be something that I've never experienced in my life. It's something that maybe I watched, maybe it's something that I read, maybe a certain stanza. But I really wanted to make it create an experience, either if it's an experience that I've created. I just had a talk with Maddie, who's a great artist. Also, she was telling me that I thought I heard about the recent violence, while I talked about something completely different, which is very interesting how different lyrics could have different experience. Going back to teaching, different people have different ways of understanding things. Age, no matter what, same thing with styles of music, type of music. It's been a very humbling moment to also use that as a back and forth thing. Yeah, I learn from other students. I learn from me. I learn back and forth. It's like, I should do that. I should have more fun when I teach my young students. Like, oh, I should relax a little bit. I say overthinking is a sinking ship. Ella and Emerson and Roy, whenever they go, it's like, I know that you have those voices. And if the quicker I could say, oh, it's a voice, and they know that I know that there is a voice, then they calm it down. They calm themselves down, which is very interesting how that quote could change everything. Yeah.
And that's going back, Marcus, to don't think, see, right? Like, don't overthink shit. What do you see? What do you see? And then moving forward to Evangeline and what she left, a piece that we did a few years ago when Evangeline just joined this community.
You 4 years.
4 years, the Trump years. Oh, we shouldn't even say that on this broadcast. Oh, but it's true. That was the era that Evangeline came through. So I mean, that was everything at that time because, and it's everything now. That the first production that we do together that began our relationship as as friends and community members, and now producing partners as we're developing larger things. That this piece was about ancestry and was about roots, and I think that it's a through line. I mean, family and where we're from, whatever one's relationship is with them, is a well of knowledge of how we deal with our love relationships, how we deal with our connections, how we deal with how we navigate how we're being perceived when we communicate a poem, when we're trying to show love, and how that's different for some people. But it all comes back down to our skin and our bones and where we're from, and kind of the inherited uh, trauma, but also inherited strength and resilience that we come from as well. I just wanted you to speak on the experience of because you've been on a journey of finding your roots and finding your people, and how art has facilitated that, please.
It's been a journey for sure. I have to say, it's really profound actually that this was our first piece, and I didn't actually really, the meaning of it today hits me heavier in 2021 than it did in 2017, or yeah, 2017, right? Most of all, in terms of my worth, coming into this community, I learned what my reverence was. I learned my value as an elder, as the 40-something, and now I'm not the only 40-something soon to be, which is very exciting. But the value of what I've seen, not only just in my career, but as a human. And also learning so much from the Gen Zers and the millennials. Like I've learned so much from the community. I've learned that I need to do better at connecting to them in terms of the way that we talk to people, which is in relation to teaching, is literally what Fuzzzy said. It's like you have to come to the level that they're at so that they can hear you. I learned that the most in this community because this community has checked me in the way that my presence has transformed from coming from a studio to coming to this community. And it's been the most amazing 4 years, aside from whatever the fuck happened in the White House, sorry for my language. But that is literally what forces us to grow the most. So in terms of finding my roots, once you figure out who you are, you'll figure out your value.
I love it. So, work in progress, the trailer that we saw at the beginning,
was made by, again, me and my good friend Nicole Turley, who couldn't join us today for personal reasons. We worked on that, and we actually shot the whole pilot, but we didn't want to. We wanted to obviously show a good chunk of other people's work, so opted to just do the trailer. But the show itself is about uh these group of friends that went to performing arts high school together, and again, who they wanted to be, whatever departments that they wanted to be, and then who they became, and then who they really were in their 30s, or who they really eventually became in their 30s. All of you on this chat have gone to college and have had arts trainings, and have you had your own dreams and aspirations when beginning schooling, for your crafts, right? Of like well, your grand dreams of what that looks like, and because this particular puff is about coming of age, I think it correlates with me turning 40 as well. Because it's coming of age, I just wanted to hear a little bit of y'all's stories, and I guess we'll just go in that same order, just for simplicity's sake. But if you wanted to comment on anyone else's thing when it's your turn, we can double back. Totally cool. But I wanted to hear a little bit of your kind of coming of age in that same reflective way of work in progress, of like who you thought you were gonna be, and then oh shit, the life kind of threw you some other shit, and you're like, wait. Who am I? Wait, is this gonna happen for me? Or did it happen for you? Or were you like, yes, I am living the dream? Andreas, please.
Oh, great. Easy question. Off the top of the dome. When I first went to college, I thought I was going to go into kinesiology, and then I didn't. I went to New York. I chased a girl, found a show, and started doing shows ever since. It's an interesting thing to wonder if you can do something. And now, in the past couple of years, my life has completely changed. Like, I think what was important to me before was what other people thought of me, and the perception of what people thought, and me checking boxes for other people. And then a few years ago, I thought I was gonna get married. I thought I was gonna be having a full-time gig. I thought I was gonna be not where I am. And now, in the blink of an eyeball, which is strange to even think about, thanks for asking, but I have 4 shows I have 6 shows actually on HBO and Netflix. And I have another work premiere coming out on April 8th. And then I'm in the studio on Monday for another show. And I'm in a place of being a full-time artist, which I never thought I would truly be. And I'm not asking the question anymore. I guess the thing that's coming of age is I'm not asking the question, can I be an actor? It's more along the lines of what type of artist do I want to be? And if art is still going to sustain and fulfill me, then that's where I go. But I also have a lot of blind courage and faith in myself to know if it ends, it ends, and I can go on a different path. That's who I am, and that's okay to be me. Because as soon as I started bringing myself to the table, I was able to start feeding myself, and the tables got bigger, and people started coming to the table versus me trying to feed people who didn't want to eat that meal anymore. Instead of begging for it, people just started to come home, and I started watering the gardens that were around me. And yeah, that was a weird realization. I didn't think I was going to be able to sustain myself with art, and then here I am doing it. I thought I was going to be in a completely different place with relationships, and when I lost basically everything to that, I discovered I actually had a ton of relationships. I was surrounded by love, and I just had to redefine what that was. And so that's kind of where I am. And finally, I think one of the last things I'll say to it is, the more that I pretend or believe that I know stuff, more often than not, it just tends to be that I just find out I don't.
just don't know a lot of things. So I'm just constantly learning. And the more that I just say, yeah, I admit to not knowing and keep my palms up and start to receive, I feel like it's exactly how I got to where I am. And
Love
that's
it.
yeah.
Thank you. Oh, all right. Since you went first last time, Alex, let's go. Marcus, the bestie from college. Tell me a little bit of your coming of age, and yeah, where you thought you were gonna go, how that may have differed.
I think this life has been pretty interesting for me in that I kind of knew what I wanted to do since I was 4 years old. At 4 years old, I started drawing for preparation of doing animation for preparation of having a multimedia production company. Um, I just I mean, as most of us who like art in general, you like what you see on screen. You like your TV shows, you like your movies, you like your cartoons, you like your comics. I saw that, and at one point, as a young kid, I was playing with comics and or playing with action figures, and I was just like, I can't make this figure fly because the character didn't fly. I'm gonna go create my own character. And then when I started drawing, I was like, oh, I want to do this forever. And so it was that simple, but that moment stuck with me for life. And so now coming a few years out of school, like making many moves in order to hone these skills, both because it's beautiful, it's so fun, it's like it's a blessing to be able to make a living off of artistic expression. And now, I'm a few years into working at Disney. I'm transitioning into moving more and more into freelance, being able to do projects like with Alex and collaborate with homies as well with other studios, all remotely, because COVID kind of showed that you can do a lot of these things and not be in person. So it's kind of expanding like the outreach on a national and global level. So I've been kind of thriving and figuring out what not the lane is, but my lane is, in order to still build to that final, not even final, but just that main goal that I've had since a young kid, is having a brand that I can call my own, that I get to share and express and leverage these stories that can kind of inspire other people in doing the same. So I feel like I'm in my age. Maybe I'm not coming into it. Maybe I always have been coming into it. But I think I'm literally verbing the thing, doing day by day, thinking of what to do, who's doing it, am I getting inspired, like how to do it, and it's fun. It's not competitive. I don't feel like I've lost my edge. I don't feel rushed. I feel like I'm doing it by the rules, which is no rules.
I'm with it. I love the not the lane, but my lane, because that's alignment there. So kudos to you, Alex Luu. Coming of age.
Coming of age. Well, for me, my relationship with art has been tumultuous, to say the least. And by tumultuous, I mean, what is it exactly that I want to do? Who do I want to do it for, and why? It's been a big why thing. So that's what I've been kind of experiencing as of late. Because I went to school with Marcus to do animation, and then I went to do slam, and started making a name for myself. And I've just always had these two talents of like I visually seeing things, performing, writing. Which should I do? Only one more than the other? Should I be a filmmaker? Do all of it? And I've come to as close to a conclusion as I can of the time right now, is to simply exist as a historian for my family, an historian for my experience. Um, and and at first I was kind of upset that I was like working a 9 to 5 while doing art. It sounds like I want to be Andreas, like doing voiceover, but wait, that's cool, and not even that. And then like Marcus is doing freelance, and like, damn man, like Jesus, that'd be great to do. And I'm like, what? I can't do it. I can't do everything. I can't. I just know how. And so to not be attached, to not attach my finances to my art has allowed me to get to a point where I can create the stuff that I want, that I can really just own my own material, create my own material, have it,
and putting it out in a way that people can just have that experience the way they had with that poem. Here's a slice of my life. Here's a slice of my family's life. Here's what made me into the man today. And if I just have like a portfolio of that exists for people to see, then I feel like I'll have done my due diligence on Earth. So that's where I've come from me.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is that wasn't supposed to happen. Sorry, the Twitch just came on. I'm sorry, on my other device. I love that, Alex. I love that you're a historian for your own experience, because that is what we're doing here. Look at this. Look at this Zoom right now, or this Twitch. Like, look at these beautiful people of color and being historians for our own experiences. Fuzzzy, coming of age, schooling. Is it everything that you thought it was going to be so far? Has there been
No,
some? No.
I mean, I think.
Wait, can I preface you?
Well,
Can I say something?
yes,
Because
yeah.
I know that I'm just going for the guttural on all of you, and I haven't really given any kind of background. But like Fuzzzy, he's toured with Public Enemy. He's been on The Voice. He works with K-pop folk. So like, you're talking about someone who's legitimate in his craft and his field. But yes, but when I ask him this question, is it everything that you thought it would be? His answer is a resounding no, no. And now proceed.
Um, I really appreciate that, teacher, because like, yeah, it's like everything. Someone asked me, it's like, oh, I used to work at a coffee shop, so I have side gigs. I used to have side gigs. And they're just having a horrible time this past 2 years. And for me, I think I've learned so much about the business side of music, or the music lifestyle of wanting to do things like what Andres want to be. It's like every artist's dream is to maintain their life as an artist. Maintain is the key word, right? Because sometimes it's like, oh fuck, excuse me for my language. Sorry, babe, sorry for my language. Like, oh darn, I have to go get a job. Like, I have to go get an 9 to 5 or etc. because I have to go pay the rent. But I always say to myself, I wake up and I say, do people want, do I have something in my resume that people would love to have? It's like, I always ask myself that. And why do I ask myself that? Because every day I think I have to be grateful. Life is grateful. Every hour is grateful. So coming of age, I think the moment I got the placement for the K-pop was the coming of age. I think that was the biggest key for me as a songwriter too. I grew up with a bunch of musicians that I say wannabe musicians, but I cannot say that because they're technically great. So my dad, so the teaching side, so I think, going back to Andres, I think I ended up being a martial artist, having his own taekwondo gym, teaching MMA students. Mixed martial art was something that I think I would be doing if I didn't do music. And the reason why I say that is because my father is a martial artist, but he played the guitar. So how did it all start was, he said, "Do you know who that guy is?" And I saw this gentleman play Tears in Heaven, and I think ever since then it changed my life. So uh going back to the teaching, I think the passion was because I taught martial arts, because I think connecting with people and different experience makes the reason why you want to learn something. For example, like, I want to learn this because I felt like this when this happened. That's like fear and assumptions and all of those things. And I think that was for music. I asked myself one point in my darkest moments of like quitting, I said, what would I do if I quit? And then the first thing I said was, I'd pick up the guitar in 2 seconds and ask what if. And if I'm gonna ask that, then never quit. If I'm gonna ask myself that again and again and again and pick it up naturally and say what if, then there's no such thing as quitting. Maybe a break is good. And then what I've noticed is K-pop. Why do I say going back to K-pop is, and when everybody of my parents, everyone of my parents has CDs, I see check. It's like, oh, I want that. So I think that is a coming of age. That was a moment I said, oh, coming of age. I think the second of coming of age, or like the way I thought I went, oh, this was another thing, was like what teacher said was Public Enemy. It's like, as an Asian American, to do hip hop, it's very, very tender, even as an American. And I say this is because I'm gonna be honest with you. If an Asian cat said he rap, I'm not gonna click it myself. So if I'm be honest with you like that, and then I got co-signed by Public Enemy, I have to do something right. So to be co-signed and say, hey, Fuzzzy, you're doing great, it meant a lot. And not only that, it's just like it's a blessing in disguises. So right now, I think I'm doing more music stuff, which is a blessing, like teaching more. I recently had a placement on the Spotify playlist, which got me 30,000 plays. And it was so funny because teacher and I was at a point of giving up again. I was like, what do I do? I put out all of this music. Lady B, teacher, what could I do? And say, hey, just ask the universe and look for a PR or something. And guess what? The song gets placed on a placement. And then I get hit up by marketing companies. And this was in 2020, which was my China tour got canceled with Public Enemy. Music is all gone. So it's like a blessing in disguise. Currently working on another a publishing deal. So working very, very hard. It's been a bit, I don't know what a coming of age now is. I think the survival is the most important thing. Is just there's so many great artists out there and so many great music out there. I think survival is the most important thing, and to be creative and have fun, because I think that's what I forget. So coming of age is always to have fun when I'm creating.
I love it. Thank you, Fuzz. It's kind of weird whenever you, which is very rare, call me Lady B, because you only refer to me as teacher, which I don't, I don't obligate you to. But then when you're like, Lady B, I'm like, that's weird coming out of your mouth, even though that is my name. All right, E, coming of age.
Hysterical that you put me on this show. I have to make a quick comment about a word that I think Fuzzzy said, or maybe before Alex said, about maintaining. It's actually about sustaining. Can you handle the energy that you're outputting and the energy that you're getting back? Can you sustain that and thrive? So that's just a vocabulary change for all y'all. Coming of age. Well, I, like Marcus, knew that I was going to be an artist before I could talk. I was dancing and playing music very, very young, playing the piano by ear, and dancing. And so I knew my parents, typical Filipino parents, were trying to make $1 off of me, put me in every class, piano, dance, tap, ballet. I started acting and I aced it all. And I think they were trying to basically make me choose one thing, and I couldn't. So I did all of that throughout high school, and I went to UCLA School of Theater to be an actor in 1995, guys. And they casted me as a Black woman in Joe Turner's Come and Gone, and I had to perfect my Black accent. And my thesis in 1998 at the UCLA School of Theater was, you're all fucking racist, sorry language. I'm gonna need help to become a producer because there are no jobs for me. So that's what I did. Thanks to UCLA, I was already working on a movie before I even graduated. And I learned to become a producer. And through that process, I fell into working with, coincidentally, animation and visual effects, basically the movie magic makers of my life. I grew up loving Star Wars, and I was kind of just chasing George Lucas growing up in the Bay Area. I couldn't work at ILM in the Bay, but I ended up working with all the geniuses. And I was basically interested in innovative storytelling. How can we tell stories on another level? But after doing that for 20 years, and I started in development before I got into animation. So every building block of storytelling.
Interjection. We're talking like Hollywood blockbuster she was working on for 20 years. Just
Yeah,
she's just
you
not
know,
naming
things
it.
you
But I'm
guys
just
have
saying.
seen. You know, I mean, The Matrix and like we won Oscars for The Matrix and like, you know, Lord of the Rings and like, you know, Men in Black. Anything with Will Smith or Tom Cruise in it, I've touched it. And I got to the point of, well, if I can make a fucking alien out of fucking Will Smith's fucking brain, why isn't there a fucking Filipino in a goddamn movie? And that's where I was when I was like making Smurfs and blue people. And I was like, I need to make brown people in movies. And time and the universe lined up and I got laid off, even, which is a funny joke because I was trying to quit making movies. And I got laid off and I got a scholarship to go back to school. So I went back to UCLA, basically said, I'm never gonna work on movies again. I'm gonna be a TV writer because I'm a comedian. And I did that and I went to the Comedy Store and I started performing at the Comedy Store. And then I started hanging out with all the Asian comics there, which is like 3. And I learned that even someone like Margaret Cho still had to fight for a fucking space on the goddamn White Boys Club. And because I had conversations with people like Margaret Cho, I went to go find my people. And I went to go find the Basco family, who coincidentally grew up across the bay for me, literally. Like where I fished was like, I could see Pittsburgh. So I went to find Bay Area people, because I know everyone knows about my intensity, but that's because I'm from the Bay. So I went to go find my people. That's like the Boscos. Went to go hang out with We on the 8th. And then Arianna puts her arm around me. And here we are at the Story of Worth. And she made me make like 3 movies, and I'm trying not to make movies anymore. So there's no plan, guys. If you know what? And I hate to quote Woody Allen because you know that shit, but there's a really good quote that he says. You know what happens when you start making plans? God laughs. And no matter who your God is, it's gonna happen. So don't make plans. Sustain yourself. Exactly what Alex said. Do not make, what did you say? Don't let art chase your finances or vice versa. Because I did that. I chased a paycheck. I chased Oscar. I didn't chase Oscars. We just made them. But like, I still came back to y'all. I still want to make movies for my people. That Arianna was the first fucking Filipina director I ever met. And I will not stop working with her till we can have projects that you will all see that have more money behind them so that they can be seen. So that's my coming of age story. There is no age. Age is just a number. It is a life experience. So if you're not experience what you can, I'm gonna stop talking because Jerry just gave me a timer.
They
Just
can't
like,
hear. They can't hear the
Also,
voice of God that's
hi,
laughing
folks. This is the other part of the team. This is your God speaking, if you so may, just believe. But what God would like to ask for you to do is to answer either both of these questions or possibly one of these questions as quickly as you can, knowing that we have a limited amount of time left. Speed round. 1,
Give us
what
both
is
of the
your favorite memory of another panelist? 2, who in your field inspired you to or motivates you to do what you do? These questions are practically the same. So answer, who in our community inspires you?
Okay, we're gonna go. Actually, okay. You can answer one or 2 of those questions, but I feel like we can do the first one and do it quickly. Let's go. The one that's what about another memory about another person in this panel. Go.
I'm gonna go real quick because it's easy. Everyone blames me for cutting a really large chunk of Ari's hair. You guys, I was just giving Tanya more work to do, okay? Right on. When we cut Ari's hair.
Yes. One time I was going through a process in my life and I let all the open micers that night cut my hair. It was an exercise of letting go. And Evangeline chopped off a lot. Yes. Who's next? Quickly, memory from someone else in this panel.
I have a good one, Andres. I remember Andres and I were talking, and I was congratulating him on his Netflix placement, on his new HBO placement as well. And he was telling me on how he was proud of me on how there's more songs out. I've been dropping a lot of songs. It seems like my art is getting a little bit more mature. Every time I perform, he says just makes him happy. But the cool thing of what I always quote people that he says is, we do what we do because we make other people's feel. That's why our job is hard. That's why we work for the top notch. That's why people come to see us so they could understand how their feeling is. That's why they wait for the weekend while we don't have a weekend. We work. Every time there's an audition, we go. Every time there's a show, we go. As much as we do that, we create value for ourselves. But the most important thing is we do this because others can't feel. We make others feel.
Yeah, I love that quote, but I also love we don't have a weekend. I feel like that's my life. We don't have a weekend. All right, go.
Every day's a weekend. Every day's a weekend.
And also a work day. But yes, go.
All right, I gotta give love to my boy Marcus. Probably one of my I have a lot of favorite memories with this guy, but I want to give one of the most significant ones was when I was hustling to finish my senior thesis. And I remember I was panicking because I was like, I was, I got an extension, like to finish it, and I was overdue, and I'm panicking, and then like, we're in the computer labs, right in front of my computer where my work is like 70% done, and then I'm panicking, and he just holds me down. I was like, Alex, you can cry when you're done. You can cry when you're done. And I was like, okay, all right, cool. Let's get this done. Let's get this movie done. And so, I think back to that a lot, bro. I think of how you've held me in my darkest and you've represented me in my most beautiful. And so, just really grateful to be on this journey with you, man.
I'm gonna cry when we're done with this Zoom. I'm gonna cry when we're done. That was very touching.
Yeah, man. I feel that moment as well, man. I think that moment, along with many others, were really powerful. I think another powerful moment for me is the second spoken word performance I saw of you. The first one blew me out of the water because I heard of you obviously you were telling me about I'm doing more poetry. You should come out. And that was I believe that was a So Far event at a really nice home in LA. The second one was at this really cool bar scene, I think in Burbank, and that's where Spoken Reasons was. That's where you performed your poem. I'm not sure if I know the official title, but I know you started as like You Can't Stop a Clock. I love that poem.
That one.
I love that poem. And exactly, that one. That really stood out. That moment really stood out to me just because it allowed me to see you kind of really vibe in your element. Like the first time it was me understanding you. Then the second time seeing it was me like seeing you like flow. And that was really amazing. Seeing you flow in your passion, and you got off stage, you were interacting with the crowd and stuff like that, and people were locked. And that was just really beautiful to see someone command and see my friend command a space in a very confident and beautiful and poetic way.
Beautiful.
I love you, bro.
Oh man, I'm gonna cry after this. Crying after this. When it's done, he said. When it's done, we cry. Yes, Andres.
Yes, I remember a time very specifically with Fuzz that it was after our mic. We were sitting in the alleyway, and there's literally a photo of it, which is so hilarious. It's like just us two chilling. And I remember we had a really wonderful night. Specifically that time, he killed it on the guitar. Was doing the whistles. I was like, man, this guy's so pro. He shows up so pro, and everyone was giving congratulations. And I just remember sitting there, and Fuzz sat next to me. And it wasn't about what we were doing. It wasn't about like the event. He sat next to me, and I just remember being like, great, man, all that. And he just goes, this is what we do. Literally. He said, we. And I just remember feeling so seen and so acknowledged. He talked about how my breath was. He just talked about how simple it felt. And he was like, it's clean. And I just remember looking at this guy and going, you just get it. I don't have to try to explain what my heart feels like. I don't have to try to explain how different I feel. He just said the words, this is what we do. And then we were like, yo, let's share this smoke and chill out for the night, man. Like that was it. Like game over. It's about as real as it was. But it was so beautiful to felt to have been listened to as intently as Fuzzzy does. and to have like the most specific words and as calming the nature that Fuzzzy has is so powerful for you, which is why so many artists grow from just interacting with it. And that was one of the most private moments that I had. And I was just so blessed to have that as like captured in there. And I was like, that guy never knows, but I get to say it today. He literally was like, this is like, oh God, I guess it is. You know, like that was it too. So thank you so much, Fuzz, for that moment. Really, it meant a lot to me years ago.
Love it. There is never enough time on these puffs to answer every question from the chat or dive into everything that I want to ask and explore with all of y'all. So that being said, for those of you out there watching, look these people up. You never know who you're going to meet, how you're going to connect, and how those people will change your life's trajectory. Connection is the only true currency in this world. It always has been. I don't care what they tell you about dollars. Connection is the currency. And especially now, during this time of quarantine and social unjust and hatred and divisiveness. So please, I invite you to, and I encourage you to reach out to these artists and share your thoughts and words and questions that we obviously don't have enough time. Jerry's yelling at me. Like right now, he's screaming at me, "Kid, close this." No, he's not. He's the sweetest. I want to thank Jerry and Medima, aka Maddie, for helping me produce this and making this happen and holding me accountable to do this. I want to thank y'all for being the, what was it again? What I will always use now, the historians for your experience. The historians for your experience. How important that statement is, and how important. I mean, that kind of sums up everything that we're trying to do. The representation issues, the diversity issues, the race issues, everything. We need to be the historians for our experience. So thank you for that gem, Alex, and thank you all for being gems. And you know how it goes. You have to say what you want to say. What do you want to do? I'm going to do that. Jerry's just talking to me. I know that we need to dance. I know that we're going to dance. Okay. We're going to dance after I tell them that they have to say what they have to say and do what you want to do and really do it and have the courage to take responsibility for those consequences and then enjoy a toast to the new you. But you might find you're waiting for your chance all along. You have been ready all along. You were just barking up the wrong tree, is all. You're trying to pass your future off to someone else. You were thinking that someone else was going to validate you, stamp your passport, and send you on your way, but it is all you. It is on you. So have the courage to create. Fall on your face, get back up, stop numbing yourself, stop pretending, jump into that fear with your boxing gloves on and create a home for yourself. One that is not bound by geography or location, but one that radiates from inside you and is always rooting for you. And then you might think, damn, that lady B at that puff told me to root for myself and it feels selfish. But I call bullshit. Because you are the most selfless. When you put your own oxygen mask on first. How then were you to assist others to breathe as freely as you do? So cheers to honking the fear. Side swiping that ticker tape of doubt. A toast to being a little more present to you and I as we shout out and exhale, spoon feed a tear, clean ourselves up, put a little water in our cups, and bust a cap up in this bitch. Take that fucking risk, open the door and walk through it. Stop being such a pussy. Stop making yourself crazy. Invest in your own toes and see a light coming out of your chest. Here it is. So shake that ass. Everybody shake their ass. So shake that ass and rock the boat and leave that little nest. Fuck that comforting batch and have a little more faith. Take your own bait, 'cause you, my friend, are a very good catch. Thank you all for joining us, and hopefully out there we're gonna
Bye. See you next time.
Yes. Are we live? Because now we just look.
Can we do the wave from art? Let's do the wave.
Guess or something. Pretend. Just yeah. You got it.
Do the wave down.
Boom, cat, boom, shoot, cat, and cats in,
You know what? Honestly, keep in mind.